Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. Weapons can be a very important thing in your fantasy role-playing game. There's lots of weapons you can choose from to help your character survive. Everything from good old-fashioned sword to cut down whatever goblin or orc threats you might run into, a knife for your thief or whatever to backstab whoever gets in their way, or in some cases, good old hammer. Not this kind of hammer, of course, although you could use it as a weapon, but this is not the kind of weapon we're talking about. So, what we're going to look at this week in this video is the Palladium book for the Compendium of Weapons, Armor, and Castle. This book has 224 pages and a copyright of 1989. It was published by Palladium Games, and all of the artwork in this book is in black and white and is pretty decent, so let's go ahead and look at that artwork. This is the first picture we see when we open the book. All of the artwork in this book is in black and white. And there is no mistaking it looking through this book. This is a book about weapons and armor. Every set of armor in this book has a picture to go with it, so you know what it looks like. And it includes armor from all different time periods, as well as giving a look at armors from different locations as well. And the book has neat scenes of castles to go along in the castle section, and some maps to go along with the castles the book talks about. To use this book, what you're going to need is, of course, a copy of this book and a copy of the core rule book for whatever Palladium game you're playing, being it Palladium Fantasy, Rifts, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, Heroes Unlimited, whatever your Palladium game is, this will go with it. You also need a full set of dice. Full set of dice containing a 20-sided die, a 12-sided die, preferably two 10-sided dice for rolling both percentiles and tens, an 8-sided die, a 6-sided die, and a 4-sided die. This book gives you a lot of options of what you can arm your characters with as far as hand-to-hand combat and melee weapons and medieval weapons go. Basically, if you have a weapon in another game system that you want to bring over into your Palladium game, or if there's a real-world weapon that you can't find in your Palladium rules, you can look it up in here, and it most likely will be in here because there's a lot of stuff in here. And it's pretty handy. The damage for each of the weapons in here, though, it doesn't list the damage with the weapon. Instead, it gives each weapon a number, and each melee weapon will be listed from either 0 to 4, and then you look it up in their chart and it'll tell you what dice you roll for that weapon. It also gives you the same kind of thing for firearms such as crossbows and bows, but for those it gives you a listing of 0 to 5, and of course you look at its chart and it'll give you the damage for it, which is alright. It also has other things that you can look up for the weapons. For your more high quality weapons that are better built, it has charts that can give you bonuses for dexterity, your parry, and your throw rating, which is pretty neat. The armor system is something that kind of throws me off because this is clearly meant for earlier editions of the game. I've not played any of the first edition Palladium Fantasy, so I'm not really sure how the armor exactly works in there, but the armor in here is done up in a way that's different than what I'm used to. Each armor will give you several different resistance factors for cuts, jabs, impact, and so forth, and some of those numbers are pretty low. So I don't know if they're meant to add to 5, which is the way that armor normally works, or if that's the armor rating for those types of attacks. I don't know. But it's pretty cool. Also, the armor in here doesn't have SDC, which all the armor that I've ever read in the other books has SDC. So that is different. So I guess this goes along with first edition. But aside from weapons and armor, you also have siege weapons, and in the very back, a short little 2 pages for gunpowder weapons, such as cannons and so forth. It also has a pretty good selection of different castles in here, based off of real-world locations. And it gives you the rundown of them, gives you maps so you can use them in your game if you wish, which is definitely neat. It also has some stuff in here on fortifications, the role of your keep, the role of your castle, and so forth, and how to defend them, and that's pretty nifty. But all in all, it is a pretty good book. Each of the armors that it lists in here, it actually gives you a picture to correspond with each type of armor so that you know what the armor looks like, which is very cool. But then all in all, that's all it is extra weapons and armor and so forth to add to your games. Which brings me to 3 questions. Would I play a character using the information from this book? And I'm going to have to say yes. It has some pretty good information and allow you to bring in other weapons that may not be detailed in the game you're playing. So that's pretty cool. Would I use the rules in this book in a game that I run? And I'm going to have to say yes. If there was a weapon that I don't have the statistics for, I probably could find them in here, or at least come close to coming up with them. And would I recommend this book? Now, I think there is a newer version of this book, so I would recommend that for your 2nd edition Palladium Fantasy and other games. But all in all, this would be pretty handy to have. It gives you some pretty good ideas, some good starting places, and can add a lot of stuff to your games, weapon-wise. And that's pretty much all I got to say for this book right now. Thank you for joining me at a look at this book. Hopefully, you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.